August 1963. The Hollywood Bowl, Los Angeles. A sold-out Frank Sinatra concert. 17,000 tickets gone in 4 hours. But outside the main gates, a woman named Catherine Martinez sat on the curb, crying. Her 12-year-old daughter Rosa sat beside her trying not to cry too. They'd driven 3 hours from Bakersfield, saved for 6 months to buy 2 tickets. But when they arrived, a man in a suit told them their tickets were fake, worthless, and he wasn't giving refunds. Frank Sinatra was inside about to go on stage when his driver mentioned seeing a woman and a little girl crying outside. What Frank did in the next hour didn't just help Catherine Martinez, it destroyed the promoter's career. This is that story. Catherine Martinez was a housekeeper. She cleaned homes in Bakersfield for $12 a day. Her husband had died 2 years earlier. Heart attack at 34. Left her alone with Rosa and bills she could barely pay. But Catherine and Rosa had one thing they shared: Frank Sinatra. They'd listen to his records every night after dinner. Rosa would pretend to be a singer, using a wooden spoon as a microphone, while Catherine washed dishes. Fly Me to the Moon was their favorite. It made them forget for 3 minutes that life was hard. When Catherine heard Frank was performing at the Hollywood Bowl in August, she made a decision. They'd go, no matter what it cost. She started saving, $1 here, $2 there, skipping lunch, walking instead of taking the bus. By July she had $80, enough for 2 tickets and gas money. She couldn't buy tickets at the official box office. They sold out instantly. But a man at her church, someone she trusted, said he could get her tickets. His cousin worked at the bowl. Good seats. $50 each. A discount. Catherine gave him the money. He gave her 2 tickets. They looked real. Had the Hollywood Bowl logo, the date, section and seat numbers, everything. August 17, 1963. Catherine and Rosa got up at 3 a.m. Drove 3 hours to Los Angeles in Catherine's old Chevy that barely ran. They wore their best dresses. Rosa had practiced her autograph request for weeks, just in case she saw Frank. They arrived at 5 p.m. The concert started at 8 p.m. Catherine wanted to be early, wanted to soak in every moment. They walked to the main gate, handed their tickets to the attendant. The man looked at them, looked at the tickets, called over his supervisor. The supervisor, a man named Robert Schiller, examined the tickets under a light. Then he looked at Catherine with contempt. "These are fake." Catherine's stomach dropped. "What? No, they can't be. I bought them from, lady, I don't care who you bought them from. These are counterfeits, bad ones. You're not getting in." "But I paid $100, I saved for months. Please, my daughter, not my problem. You got scammed. Take it up with whoever sold them to you." Rosa started crying, quiet at first, then louder. "Please," Catherine begged. "Is there anything you can do? Can we buy tickets at the door?" Schiller laughed. "Buy tickets? Lady, this show's been sold out for 3 months. And even if we had tickets, they'd be $100 each. You got that kind of money?" Catherine didn't. She had $12 left for gas to get home. "I didn't think so. Now move along. You're blocking the line." Catherine took Rosa's hand, led her away from the gate, found a curb near the parking lot, sat down and cried. Not just because of the money, because she'd failed her daughter, because she'd promised Rosa this night. This one special night, and it was gone. Rosa hugged her mother. "It's okay, Mama, we can listen to the records at home." That made Catherine cry harder. Inside the bowl, Frank Sinatra was in his dressing room. His driver, a man named Tommy Rizzo, had just arrived after parking the car. "Everything all right out there?" Frank asked, adjusting his tie. "Yeah, boss. Except I saw something weird." "What?" "Woman and a kid. Sitting outside, crying. I asked what was wrong. The woman said their tickets were fake. Some scam." Frank stopped, adjusting his tie. "Fake tickets? Yeah. Promoter wouldn't let them in. Told them tough luck." "The promoter? That's Schiller, right? Yeah, Robert Schiller. He's the one running the gate. Frank's face hardened. Where's the woman now? Still outside, I think, near the west gate. Frank walked to the door. His manager tried to stop him. Frank, you're on in 30 minutes. We need to. This'll take 10 minutes. Frank walked out. Tommy led him through the backstage area, out a side entrance, around to the west gate, and there they were. Catherine and Rosa, still sitting on the curb. Rosa's face buried in her mother's shoulder. Frank walked over, stood in front of them. Catherine looked up, saw a man in a tuxedo. Didn't recognize him at first. The setting sun was in her eyes. "Excuse me, ma'am, I heard you had some trouble with your tickets." Catherine wiped her eyes. "We're fine. We're leaving soon." Then Rosa looked up. Her eyes went wide. "Mama, Mama, that's him." Catherine looked again. Really looked. Frank Sinatra smiled. "Hi there." Catherine couldn't speak, just stared. "What happened?" Frank asked gently. Catherine found her voice. "We bought tickets, but they were fake. We didn't know. I saved for 6 months. I'm so sorry, Mr. Sinatra. We didn't mean to cause trouble." "You didn't cause trouble. Someone scammed you. That's not your fault." Frank turned to Tommy. "Go find Schiller. Bring him here. Now." Tommy ran off. Frank knelt down to Rosa's level. "What's your name?" "Rosa," she whispered. "That's a beautiful name. You like my music, Rosa?" She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "What's your favorite song?" "Fly Me to the Moon." Frank smiled. "Mine too." He stood up, looked at Catherine. "How much did you pay for those fake tickets?" $100. It was all I had." "Who sold them to you?" "A man at my church. I thought I could trust him." Frank's jaw clenched. 3 minutes later, Tommy returned with Robert Schiller. Schiller saw Frank and his attitude changed immediately. "Mr. Sinatra, I didn't know you were. Is there a problem?" "Yeah, there's a problem. Yeah, there's a problem. You turned away this woman and her daughter because their tickets were fake." "Well, yes, sir. They were counterfeits. I have to protect the venue from." "How many fake tickets have you seen tonight?" Schiller hesitated. "Maybe 20, 30. It's a big problem. People buy from scalpers and 30 people got scammed. 30 families, and you turned them all away." "Mr. Sinatra, I have to enforce the rules. If I let everyone with a sob story." "Sob story?" Frank's voice went quiet. "Dangerous. This woman saved for 6 months. She's a housekeeper. You know what that means? It means she cleans toilets so people like you can have nice offices. And someone scammed her, took her money, and instead of helping you laughed at her." "I didn't laugh. My driver heard you. He said you told her tough luck." "Is that true?" Schiller went pale. "I may have said something like that, but here's what's going to happen. You're going to find every single person you turned away tonight because of fake tickets. All 30 of them. You're going to seat them. Front section, best available seats. Mr. Sinatra, we're sold out." "There are no." "Then you're going to remove 30 seats from the promoter's allocation. The seats you hold back for VIPs and investors. Those seats, you're going to give them to the people who got scammed." "I can't do that without authorization from." "I'm authorizing it. This is my concert. My name on the marquee. My decision. You got a problem with that?" Schiller looked at Frank, at the steel in his eyes. "No, sir, no problem." "Good. Start with Mrs. Martinez and her daughter. Front row center." And Schiller, "Yes, sir. After the concert, you're going to track down every scalper, every scam artist, selling fake tickets to my shows. You're going to work with the police. You're going to make sure this doesn't happen again. Because if I hear about one more family getting scammed at one of my concerts, I'm going to make sure you never work another venue in this city. We clear?" "Yes, sir. Crystal clear." "Then get moving." Schiller practically ran back toward the gate. Frank turned to Catherine and Rosa. "Come on, let's get you inside." Catherine was crying again, but different tears now. "Mr. Sinatra, I don't know what to say." "Don't say anything, just enjoy the show." He walked them to the front entrance. past the lines, past security, directly to the front row center section. The best seats in the house. An usher tried to stop them. "Sir, these seats are reserved for..." "They're reserved for Mrs. Martinez and her daughter," Frank said. "Any questions?" "No, sir." Frank helped Rosa into her seat. Then Catherine, "I'm about to go on, but after the show you come backstage. I want to introduce you to some people." Rosa found her voice. "Mr. Sinatra." "Yeah, sweetheart. Will you sing Fly Me to the Moon?" Frank smiled. "Just for you." The concert began 20 minutes later. Frank walked on stage to a standing ovation, 17,000 people screaming. But he looked at two people in the front row, a woman and her daughter, and he winked. He performed for 90 minutes, and when he got to Fly Me to the Moon, he pointed at Rosa. "This one's for a very special young lady who drove 3 hours to be here tonight." Rosa cried through the entire song, happy tears. After the show, Frank brought Catherine and Rosa backstage, introduced them to the band, signed autographs, took photographs, gave Rosa a copy of his latest album signed to Rosa, who taught me that the most important audience is the one that fights to be here. Your friend Frank. Then Frank did something else. He pulled out his wallet, took out $200, handed it to Catherine. "Mr. Sinatra, I can't." "Yes, you can. That's the $100 you lost, plus another 100 for gas and the trouble." And Catherine, "Yes, the man at your church who sold you those tickets. You give me his name. I'm going to make sure he doesn't scam anyone else." Catherine gave him the name. Frank made a call that night. 2 days later, the man was arrested. Turned out he'd scammed 47 people, fake tickets to various events. Frank's lawyer helped build the case. The man went to prison, but Frank wasn't done. He called the Hollywood Bowl management, demanded a meeting, and in that meeting he made it clear Robert Schiller was done. That man humiliated families. Frank told the Bowl's director. He laughed at people who'd been scammed. He showed zero compassion, zero humanity. "I don't care if he's good at his job. I don't work with people like that. He goes, or I never perform here again." Robert Schiller was fired the next day. The Hollywood Bowl implemented new policies, anti-scalping measures, verification systems for tickets, a fund to help people who'd been scammed. They called it the Martinez Protocol after Catherine. Catherine and Rosa Martinez never forgot that night. Rosa grew up, became a teacher, and told her students the story every year. About the time Frank Sinatra saw her mother crying and decided that wasn't acceptable. In 1998, when Frank died, Rosa flew to Los Angeles for a memorial service. She was 47 years old, a mother herself, and she brought her 12-year-old daughter. After the service, a reporter asked her why she'd come. "Because Frank Sinatra taught me something that night in 1963, Rosa said. "He taught me that when you see someone in pain, someone who's been wronged, you don't walk past, you don't say not my problem. You stop, you help, you use whatever power you have to make it right." That lesson changed my life. It's why I became a teacher. It's why I spend my life helping kids who need someone to believe in them. "And your mother?" the reporter asked. "What did it mean to her?" Rosa smiled through tears. "My mother died in 1989, but until the day she died she kept that autographed album on her nightstand, and every night before bed she'd touch it and say, 'Thank you, Frank. Thank you for seeing us.'" The photograph from that night backstage still exists. Catherine and Rosa standing with Frank, all three smiling, Frank's hand on Rosa's shoulder. The photo hangs in Rosa's home today. A mother was crying outside a Frank Sinatra concert. What Frank did in 1 hour destroyed the promoter's career, but it did something else too. It showed 17,000 people that night, and millions who heard the story later, that fame and power are only worth something if you use them to protect people who can't protect themselves. Robert Schiller never worked in entertainment again. The scam artist went to prison, and Catherine Martinez got to see Frank Sinatra sing Fly Me to the Moon from the front row, because one man decided that a crying mother and her daughter mattered more than his schedule, his convenience, or his concert. That's not just kindness, that's justice. And that's the Frank Sinatra nobody put on the album covers.